All right. So let me just say this. I'll start with this.
Yep.
Tennessee Titans, number one pick. This is what I find strange about this situation with the Titans. Everybody in the world thinks they're taking Cam Ward with this pick. The
Yeah.
odds are like minus 5,000 or
Yeah.
4,000 on DraftKings. 2 weeks before the combine, the Titans GM was saying, we're not going to force a quarterback. We're not passing on a generational talent to take a quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, it's been Cam Ward, Cam Ward, Cam Ward. I have the Titans picking Cam Ward in my mock draft, but I have to say, I would not be surprised if all of this is a smokescreen and something funny happens with that number one pick, either a trade or the Titans taking someone else. I just feel like it's almost all too hunky dory for a player that frankly wasn't that good last year.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, the other thing is, you look at it in the other two quarterbacks behind him, Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, they kind of have some flaws, and I don't think they're held in that high of a regard, or at least in high regard as some of the quarterbacks we've seen in prior draft classes. And so, Cam Ward is kind of being held as the quarterback to draft. And I think the Titans are covering all their bases by, at this point saying that, hey, if there's a guy that's worth trading up for, it's him and him alone. And they hold the keys with that number one pick. And I think they're interested to see who would come and get it, because there are a couple teams that are desperate for quarterback. But ultimately, I do have them picking Cam Ward as well. I do think they take him. I heard Cam Ward the other day talking about, he was naming like Calvin Ridley, and I forget Treylon Burks is like two of his top four receivers in the NFL, and he said Tony Pollard's the best running back in the NFL. Like, he's all bought in. Like, he's sipping the Titans Kool-Aid, and he's repping for, I think, his future franchise.
I just feel like, what did Cam Ward do last year to be the undisputed number one pick this year? Like, I don't think he even had a great year. Like, you go back to last year's draft, everyone knew Caleb Williams was hype, whether you agree with it or not. We all knew he was hyped. Everyone knew Drake May was going to be a top 5 pick going into his senior year, or his junior year, I should say. He was hyped. Jalen Daniels kind of came out of nowhere, but he also had a monster season in his last year at LSU. What did Cam Ward do in college to make him the undisputed number one? I think he was up and down at Miami last year. I think he has a lot of bad habits. I don't believe in the player. I should say that. I think this is more a case of any port in a storm, whereas teams are so desperate for a quarterback that they're just kind of jumping on the only guy that maybe has a chance. But I really feel like the Titans might be trying to just drive up a lot of interest in this to see if someone does take the cheese. And then if not, they maybe will end up still taking him.